We are in the series talking about generations, and it is really a blessing when we get to have multiple generations from the same family going to church together. And so it's wonderful to sit down with the Cartwright family and hear about how that came to happen and what their experiences with that are as we talk this evening.
Well, I'll start it off by telling the story how important it is to invite people to come to your church. I've been a lifelong Methodist, but Renee and I moved back here in the summer of 1983. We moved into our house on Madison Avenue, and we'd been there just a few hours, and the next door neighbor came over and immediately invited us to the First United Methodist Church. That was important. That's the importance of always invite people to church. KATHRYN?
Mm-hmm. So I've been a member ever since I was born. So I've grown up in this church, and it's become a family, and it's just something that, I've been involved with even from youth group, and then as an adult now, ministering there through the children's ministry sometimes, and now I worship there with my family.
And I've been in the church about 16 years. I moved from Webster County, but I've been in the Methodist church all my life, and I'm pleased to be here. It's a good church.
I wonder if you have a story or a moment in time or a process in time where your family's faith also became your faith. It changed you. You owned it for yourself.
Something you grow up with and you like
and you
it.
have parents and grandparents that have gone before you, go all the time. It's just, it's easier for you to carry on the tradition, and get involved in the
I think it's a real leap of faith for those people who haven't grown up as a Christian, because I can still become Christians, obviously.
Oh, yes.
And it's really great that they can accept Christ later in life and lead an example. I just was very fortunate and privileged to grow up in a home that I knew Christ early in life. So it makes a difference. But and it's just great getting to worship with all three of us. And COVID has been generally, I think, bad for the church, a lot of organizations, but for us, COVID has brought us together. I will say one thing about generational and COVID. It's great to have a young person in the family, because, Mother, would you say that?
Yes.
Yes, because if we were dependent on KATHRYN, if it wasn't for KATHRYN, I'm not sure we could have watched church on Facebook and YouTube.
Or YouTube, yeah.
So,
I couldn't.
It's been great. We've had the technology at our church, but technology is only as good as the person who is able to access it. So having generational has saved us during COVID.
It has. It certainly has.
And then having a meal afterwards too, with that family time and coming together and regroup, especially in a hard time of COVID and the uncertain. So having that times carved out through a Sunday morning of worship and meal, brought us together, sort of helped ease the pain of the hard times that we had.
That's well said.
So we've been talking about different generations, and we're blessed in our church to have lots of different generations in our church. And that's not always the case in every church. There might be some churches with everybody's young families with kids, or everybody's retired or older. But why do you think it matters? What's important about having different generations together in church?
Oh, just having your family that you raised and loved all these years and keep on loving.
I went to a church. Renee and I went to a church when we were in school that was predominantly, had some college students, but predominantly an older congregation, had very, very few children. And it's a lot sadder. It takes a lot of, I'm like Mother, it's great to have a wide variety of ages in church on a Sunday morning. It just creates a lot of energy, and for the betterment of the church.
We know we're growing.
We're really growing. You got families. You got
having babies and all these little ones. We know the church is going to be growing for years.
It's going to be there, hopefully, when we're gone. And that's what you hope. You've raised some people to come up after you to take over.